What's up, everybody? Oh, Wolfie's gonna join us. Come here. Welcome to this episode of Rare Plant Talk, and we have a special guest here with us today. We've got Wolfie. Wolfie's gonna come and hang out for a minute. Hopefully not for too long, because he's kind of in the way, and he's in Marvik's spot. So right now and today, and maybe even for Marvik the last 3 or 4 days, we've been under the weather, like sick, but not COVID sick, just cold sick. Hopefully you can say COVID. I think you can say that now. But so if we're not energetic and enthusiastic and like, wow, you know, that's why. But we thought that even when you're sick, stuff still has to get done. And so we're going to get it done. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. But in the process, we'll maybe talk through some of what we're going to do. We're going to do a lot of replanting, or not replanting, repotting. Because there's a lot of plants that need to be repotted. Some have already been repotted, like this Paraíso Verde, which is done and ready to go. Just so you get a look at the size of that guy. That is a big plant, and I believe that unfortunately this particular one is not going to be available in the shop, but there will be one that is about the same size that will be available. Is it what?
Regale.
Oh, look at that.
I did not know.
So we are now proud parents of a Regale baby. You're witnessing this with us for the first time. We can get that out of you and get this into view. There we go. There's a baby. And here is the proud parent. This is just, you've seen this a few times, but maybe you haven't seen the exact size because I always keep it in the cabinet. I never really pull it out. But look at that. Big, beautiful Regale. Alright. Kind of a size comparison. Yeah, that's huge. That's exciting. Good job, baby.
No, I did not see it until it fell down.
Alright, so anyways, first thing that we're going to do, or first thing that I'm going to do, is I need to get this into a pot where I can see the roots. As much as I like, well, I'll be honest, I'm not even a fan of the way this pot looks, but I needed,
so cute. That's an art.
yeah, it is, but it's not my style. I needed a pot that was big, that could handle something of this size, and this happened to be the one that was available. But now we've got something else that will hopefully work. I haven't looked at the root system yet, but my goal is to get it into something more of this size. We'll know once we get this out of here. But it's been happy. I mean, that's the other scary part, is when a plant's happy and it's kind of doing its thing, and it's not showing signs of dissatisfaction with where it's at, it's kind of hard to move it. You kind of want to leave it where it's at, but at the same time, I know that I'm one that enjoys seeing what's happening with my plant's roots. And so every one of my plants that I have it in some type of setup where I can quickly expose and see the root system, because I want to see what's really happening underneath. Because a plant can look just fine up top, like this can look really nice and be all velvety and soft and pretty, and then you go to pull on a leaf and the leaf falls right off. I've actually had that happen a couple times. I think once with the tie, where it looked all nice and it was doing good, and we just, you know, just tugged on a little bit and the leaf fell off and it died. And so to avoid that type of situation, so what we're going to do, I'm going to use the camera. We're going to try and get the outer edges, and wow, this guy is super happy. I mean, he's just, you couldn't be more happy than he is. Look at those roots. It just took off. It was almost like it didn't even get imported. It was just It was like, hey, here I am. I'm ready to go. Throw me in a pot and let's do this. So yeah, it's super happy. It's a no drain pot, which I've been a fan of lately, and it looks like the roots have been a fan of it, and so I think we're going to continue that process. There's, as you can notice, there's really literally no moss or leca in the bottom of this, but I think I'm going to put just a little bit of a reservoir, probably about like that much in the bottom, so that it has just a little bit of retention. But for the most part, I think I'm going to just duplicate what we've got. The other concern is this is kind of a narrow space, and so I'm thinking this pot might not work. I don't want to damage any of these roots because of how healthy and happy it is. And so I'm going to need to find something that is going to give me the same level of I don't know, visibility as the clear jar, but the same width and diameter, which is probably going to be like that, in terms of being able to see what that root size is and being able to fit it in there without squishing or damaging the roots. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna pause it while I go look for something that's going to be a little bit more fitting for the situation, and then we'll be back here in just a second. Appreciate you. Thanks for putting up with the sickness, because we get sick like that. Okay, so we're back, and we found another pot that's going to give us a better size in comparison to what we need for this particular plant. So we're going to go ahead and go with this, and this is going to give me the ability to see the roots as well, so that's definitely a plus. I'm going to grab some leca. I should have done that before I jumped on camera because it's loud, but I'm going to step off to the side here, grab some leca to create our reservoir, and then we'll start to get our plant potted up here.
Woofy in the middle.
Careful. Got our reservoir, and we've got our plant. Where's our good sphagnum moss?
You know.
No, this is the yucky sphagnum moss.
I don't know. That's the only one I know.
It's fine, it'll work. Alright. So we have the less desirable sphagnum moss. If I can scoot back just a little bit. I'm gonna drop some of this in there. Pull out the long strands. See this again, I've shown you guys this in a few videos, but there's pieces like that turn me off to this. But that's fine. We're just gonna take this guy, and we're pretty much just going to transfer him over into this one. Now, actually, let's see. Because this root system is so thick. Oh, I'm making a huge mess. I don't know what I think. I think this pot might be too small. I think what we're going to do, I don't know. I'm at a loss here on this one. Let's see. Alright. You are going to witness a disaster in progress. But that's okay. We're going to figure this out. The best way to go with this. Sickness and all. And so, you know what I'm thinking is that if I bring this up a little bit, then, so see that little gap in there? Got a little hole in there? I could probably fill that in with sphagnum moss so that we've got some area for roots to continue to thrive in on the inside. And I'm just going to plant this by ear. And then I'm going to make sure that I don't break off any of these roots as I drop it back in here. But even if I do that, clearly this pot might be a little bit too small. One thing that I have noticed though, anthuriums, they like to be pretty much root bound. You know, they like that tight packaging inside the pot, and I really feel like it really helps them feel the stability and gain the ability to increase in leaf size, because they're so packed in there. It's like they're just tight, and so they don't move a lot, and they feel like, oh hey, you know what, I can put out bigger roots and put out bigger leaves as a result, because of the fact that they're so root bound.
It's a runner.
It's a runner. We got a runner. Oh, those are known for running too. And so yeah, I really think that that's the case. Very similar to how, like, also I think that's also common with anthuriums is when you have the big chunky pieces of wood or the chunky orchid bark, they feel like they're grabbing onto something and climbing. I think it's kind of a similar process to that in terms of theory, but again, it's just my personal thought. Yeah, I think we're in a good position here. Let me go ahead and put some more moss in here. And you know, you do hear a lot though where they say don't increase pot size too much, because if you do, it's going to stress out your plant and cause it to not do well, and in many cases die. And for a lot of people, that's a beginner mistake, where they try and put it in the pot that they think that it's eventually going to grow into over time, and the plant ends up suffering and not doing well because of the fact that they were putting it in something that was just like 2 or 3 pot sizes too big. You always want to go just up enough to where you're giving it just enough space to grow out a little bit, but to where within, like, I don't know, 6 months or so, you're going to want to go back through the process and do the same thing over again. Alright, so we have a lot of open space in here, primarily because of the size of the roots in comparison to the pot. And so I'll show that to you. But I think that that's not really going to be an issue, because we have some really good coverage on the top. The sphagnum moss is going to cover the top, and the gaps that you'll see inside, I think that those are going to be okay, because that's going to promote more root growth, because the roots are going to grow in those gaps. And I talked a little bit about that in the last couple videos, not much, maybe not the last couple videos, but in some of the videos in the past somewhere. We talked a little bit about how we've been practicing with the Thai constellation, and Marvick had identified that if you water up to where the roots are, so if you bring the water up to where the roots are, the roots never strive to go down, and so the roots never really grow in strength as well as never grow in depth. But if you leave the water down low, I don't know what he's down there. What are you doing down there? My dog just went downstairs, and he's not allowed down there by himself. I don't know why he went down there. But anyways, let the roots seek out the water, and that's going to give them an opportunity to grow and become stronger, because what they're doing is they're looking for water, and in the process of doing that, they have to grow, and that's just a natural process for plants. Whether it's grass or a crystalinum, that process is pretty much the same from what we've seen. Okay, so this is pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and get it watered and go from there. You'll notice I'm, again, packing down the sphagnum moss just a little bit, which I shouldn't be. I should be tapping the bottom, but this is such a massive plant that I don't want to do that. And I can literally see the roots, so I can see whether or not I'm impacting them, and I'm not, and so I feel like I'm pretty good with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this going here. Again, watering with root water, primarily because this particular setup does not have any type of drainage as well as it does not have any type of slow release or even fast release fertilizer in it. The nutrients are coming solely from the water that we are providing it, and so it's important that the plant does get its nutrient base. Alright. Okay, so there you have it. We are done with this one. Let's get this off of there. Looking good. Super duper thick root base, and it is just extremely happy because of the previous pot that it was in. It is a huge plant. Excited to get that into the shop, whether it's on display or for sale. You know, it'll be on display until it does get sold, obviously, but that'll be an enjoyable one to look at, because I think that some people get to see crystalinums this big, but not everybody does, and so it's a fun plant to look at. Alright, we'll be back in a moment. Alright, y'all, it's time for some B-roll. Here you go. I'm not a pro, I'm tired. I'm under the weather. This is doing so good.
Yeah, you want to repot it? Get a little bigger.
No.
You combine these two.
No, I think this is doing good. Because these are two different plants.
No, they are the same.
Well, I know, but I mean, they're the same genus, but they're from, like this, these are literally from this leaf.
Huh?
These right here are from this leaf. These are not, are they?
Yeah, but they are all the same. Me. That's how I do it in my plants.
But this pot's fine for this so far. It's not.
It's back.
No, it's not fine.
You need to breathe. But that's my plan anyway.
I know. They just both look so happy. I would just leave them where they're at and put them in just water them. Oh, this was your big epi. So, here's something. If you'll notice, when you look at our, I don't know, our logo. When you look at our logo, this is actually.
No, this is your this is the
is
logo.
It this one? Okay. Well, this was purchased at the same time, I guess is the best way to put it. But it doesn't look the same because clearly it's had its struggles recently. But this is, was it this one? This exact one? Because it was missing some stuff in there. Well, this is the logo plant.
Oh, I think this is the yellow one. Yeah, this one.
All right, so we lied. All right, so this, when you look at the Armstrong Aroids logo, this is that plant. It's struggling, and we're trying to bring it back because it's, you know, we had to cut it back and prop it, but that's it. So, moment of history here, potentially. Hopefully we will do well and be successful, and we can look back on this moment and be like, man, yeah, that was the logo, that was it.
That's juices.
Yeah. This is it. It was my sister-in-law's plant. We took it and took a picture of it and did some, you know, photographic manipulation, and this is our logo. So
You used to be healthy back then.
yeah, at one time. So anyways, there's that. I think I'm done.
Okay. Will you give me a like a place up to here?
Yeah.
1/3.
Up to where? Third?
1/3.
Yeah. That root system. Looks good. Are you gonna fill inside the inside? Yeah, there you go. Show them the camera. Show 'em what you're doing. Tucking in, putting the sphagnum moss up in the middle so that there's not that open void inside the middle.
Putting it in here to make it look big.
Let's get rid of this thing. It happens all the time.
I feel like it will be better in this side.
Possibly. That pot is so wide though.
It has two.
Yeah. Oh, you know what that would look good in?
What?
That rectangular pot. I like this one.
The one that you saw in Hobby Lobby earlier?
No, the one that turning yellow.
Look at my jungle boogie. Doing very good.
Oh, it's doing the boogie. Mine's
Doing the crappy.
it's ready to boogie out.
You put it in the soil right away. Look, mine is in the sphagnum moss.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's 7:27. When you're sick, that means it's bedtime. It might also mean that when you're old, but we're certainly not old, right?
We are old. I'm so proud of myself putting this back to life.
It is. Oh my gosh. That's good. That's empty. And refill the water. So this rare plant talk has turned into plant chores, but
It is plant chores.
rare plant chores and rare plant talk, it's all the same. We're just going to point at something different. We're going to call it rare plant talk.
Only two is rooting.
Yeah.
The thicker the epi, it's harder to
Yeah.
root in anything. The thicker the plant, the harder it roots.
When you say thicker, you mean bigger or thicker?
The thicker.
Like the root system? The root?
No, the
root?
trunk.
Yeah. That's why our queens are dying. Let me take a look at this. I'm gonna open this up and do some surgery. Wonderful.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Good. I'm guessing root rot. Whoa, if there's any roots at all.
We have the same. This goes the same day. Look.
No. I'll give you the good one.
No.
You want to trade?
Oh, hell no. Mine is doing very, very good.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
Look.
I'm going to take this back to water. So first I'm going to rinse these roots off. And then I'm going to see what I'm working with. Maybe cut down some roots. But I really think that this needs to go back to water and root out a little bit better. And kind of go from there. So that we can at least save some of it, because what's happening is it's not doing well and it's turning yellow because it really just does not have a strong root system to support it. The roots that you are seeing are probably the import roots, and that's just not enough, you know. So, and I don't want to take it back to a chunk because it still has roots, but it's just not enough to keep it happy. And so we're gonna rinse it out, see what it looks like.
This one is not happy at all.
We'll be back. Yeah, that's not happy. You know what's interesting? The ring of fire, it struggles too. When you don't have a root system on it, it just does not want to grow a root system. It wants to struggle. Very much the same way. Will you hand me a small cup out of the, well, let's see. I'll use this. So just kind of as suspected, really what we've got there is those really thin roots. That's where I have basically gently pulled on it to see what's going to come off, and that's really from the original root system that didn't really do well in transportation at all. And I don't want to clip them all the way, just because what I have found is that if all of the roots have activated and you clip them all off, you end up with no root system and the plant dies. And so I'm going to keep it pretty much like it is now, and then I'm going to drop it into some water, and I'm going to let it do its thing, and hopefully some of these roots will rejuvenate and come back and we'll be good. Or maybe like some of these newer, not necessarily newer, but further up roots, aerial roots, maybe some of those will activate and be able to sustain the leaves that are there. Because if they don't, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up taking it back down to a chunk, and when a ring of fire goes back to a chunk, you pretty much don't have any success rate whatsoever. It's pretty much done at that point. And I say ring of fire even though this is jungle boogie, but a ring of fire in essence, which I have a little bit more experience with, is a variegated jungle boogie. So they're pretty much the same plant, just that one's variegated and one's not. So we're gonna put a little bit of water in there, and we'll leave it like this for a while, and see if it has the will to survive. Hopefully it will have the will. Where am I going to put it? And just another side note, a lot of bugs are attracted to the color yellow, and so I get really tempted when you see something that is like pure yellow and it's not contributing anything from like a chlorophyll, I don't know the terminology, but it's not helping the plant at all. I get really tempted to just clip that off. In this case, it's in good shape, but at the same time, it's not doing anything for the plant. If anything, it might be detracting from the plant because the plant's going to try and rejuvenate this leaf instead of grow out its root system. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a decision, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull that off right now. And on top of that, if you notice, let's do this too. This leaf that is all yellow, it's also the oldest leaf, and oftentimes the oldest leaf does turn yellow. In fact, if you look down at the bottom, let's go like this. Let's travel all the way down right to the very bottom. There is where you'll see that. And so, we've always shared and always talked about how the oldest leaf will always die off. So there it is. It died and now it's off. Okay, so there we are. We'll drop that in here and hope for the best. And may you root well and prosper. So we'll stick this off to the side. I think that's it for me. Still a lot more work to do. Looks like Marvik's knee deep in swapping and propping her plants. Swapping and propping, like you're swapping containers and propping. Oh, that's a good looking glass. I like that. It sucks being sick. This is going to be propagated, I'm sure.
Where's the water? No more water?
It's right here. Probably not enough water, but. Winlindii, Syngonium. It's a fun plant. I actually really like this one. And it's really, it's very low maintenance. It's a happy plant. It doesn't take a lot, and it does well. And that's one plant that we will have available. In fact, we're in the process of getting in a few more of those just because of how much I do like that plant and how low maintenance and easy it is to take care of. Okay, well, I'll just say this. We'll go ahead and close out here. It's probably a pretty long video anyways. I can't even see the time, can't see the distance. you know, part of being sick, I guess, is not paying attention to what you're focusing on. But I'll just say thank you so much for watching. Please continue to like and subscribe. This is Teray with Armstrong Aroids LLC and Marvick with Armstrong Aroids LLC. Super excited for all that is to come. Thank you. Like, subscribe, and obviously if you don't like, subscribe, let us know why you don't like it. And if there's something that you want to see different content-wise, share with us. We want to know. We're excited to be a part of this journey, and we'll go from there. Hopefully being healthy in the next video. Take care.